Okay, we're gonna get started. Oh my God, thank you all so much for being here. How are you all doing? Who's ready to wake up from self-doubt? I am. So, speaking of self-doubt, do I have any? Absolutely. I don't know. You just witnessed me. I don't know. I don't have 100% certainty how my computer is gonna act, my internet, my bandwidth, even my shakes. I don't know if all this external stuff will work for me. I'm hoping, and I've not fully tested, as you can see. So thank you so much for being here. This is also overwhelming, but I'm so proud, and you're going to be proud of me that I'm moving forward and not letting this technology stop me. And I'm also apologizing ahead of time for any sexy screw ups that may or may not happen. Who knows, right? So I've not experienced any of this, but stepping into leadership. And sometimes when we don't have an experience of things, that's when doubt gets activated. But right now, I have no doubt whatsoever that I am meant to be here, that you are meant to be here, that I'm passionate about the message that I'm here to share with you. And I'm 100% certain that I am doing my very best to make your investment of time and attention worthwhile. So thank you so much for being here, and welcome to Soul Powered Leadership Training number 1. Yeah, sexy screw ups. So, okay. There we go. I found the button that says next. Yay. So this month, our focus is on wake up from self-doubt and step into soul-powered leadership. This is a monthly presentation focused on soul-powered leadership training. But before I proceed, I see my wonderful coach and beautiful coach and mentor, Vanessa, who is right here with us. Thank you so much for seeing and recognizing my work at the depth of my soul. It's exactly what I need to birth to life, what my soul came here to do. So all of us need a Vanessa in our life. Thank you so much, Vanessa, and thank you all for being with me right here in support and in community for what soul-powered leadership is. So my goal, I have a big ass goal. My goal is to have 100 leaders and executives and everyday heroes and change makers go through this free soul powered training classes every month, and to have 100 leaders at least for the first part of the year. And if you receive value from this training, I ask that you spread the word and share it and help me meet my audacious goal. And my intention is to deliver a rock solid training to inspire you soul-powered leaders to answer the call to authentic confidence and soul-powered leadership, so you can fully step into your soul's work and create the difference you are here to make. Yay. Awesome. So why is this important? It's a double whammy. One, because you can no longer deny your soul. In my experience, there wasn't any peace of mind until I said yes to this calling, to this something more that I couldn't identify at first. In the beginning, I had no idea what it was. And it meant that I had to break free of my old life and come back to this me, to the real me, and bring to life all that I came here to be and do and have. Not what society, not what the culture, not what family or anything that dictated I should be or do. And the second one is the world can no longer wait. My daughter told me over dinner recently that she's not gonna make me a grandma. What? Nah. And I'm like, not right now, of course, you know. But in the back of my mind, I was thinking, is this a cruel joke? Am I being punished? I wanted to ask her, but I caught myself and just got curious and, um, to turn off my laptop here. It's distracting me. And so I asked her why. And she said, because we are facing extinction. That yes, she would adopt, but she won't bring a human life on Earth unless something changes. And can you feel it was like an ice cold that was splashed on my face and dripped through my back as a wake-up call is like, oh my God. And so that's when the inspiration hit me to create this monthly soul-powered training. And I have my daughter to thank for that. So who is this training for? This training is open to all, but the work is not for the faint of heart. This training is not meant to be a Band-Aid solution. This whole training right here will challenge your belief system. So if you are the kind of person who is comfortable where you're at right now, you're welcome to stay for the entire training, but you might not get a lot out of it if you are closed off or if you've already decided to stay the same and you're not open to change. So I would suggest relaxing and suspending any judgment and to listen with a beginner's mind and allow the activation of your soul power because you're here, right? You're here. And so something drew you here. And so follow along with curiosity and open mind and open heart. The training is especially designed for leaders, executives, professionals, change makers who are looking to finally get rid of debilitating self-doubt so you can fulfill your highest expression, your highest fulfillment, and your highest contribution that you are born to do. So the training is for you if you can no longer just watch the atrocities and injustices that's happening all over the globe. There's crisis collectively affecting the human race on a personal and collective level. And the well-being of the planet is in jeopardy and the well-being of all its inhabitants. And I think we cannot watch the self-destruction going on right now, not anymore, not any longer. And this training is for you if you want to entertain the idea of bringing heaven on earth because of and despite of the negativities that I mentioned that is dominating and destroying the world as we know it. And you are also being called to create the change in the world, even though there is a nauseating pit of self-doubt and deep-seated insecurities holding you back. So why leaders, executives, and change makers? Because this is all about execution. The world cannot wait any longer. You have important work to do. So the bad news, we are in a state of planetary emergency. Good news is crisis ignites evolution. We are given a choice here. We are being invited to step up. Our soul is relentless, and when it's ready to wake up, it will have its way. Even though we are in a planetary emergency and humanity, as my daughter said, is on the verge of extinction, if you are on this call, then something deep within you is answering the call to begin something new, to create something different, to be the solution. The way we've been living is self-destructive. If we continue to hang on to the old structures and follow the belief systems ingrained in us institutionally, in our education, in our medical care, in our economy, environment, government, social justice, if we continue to go down that path, then we accelerate our own imminent collapse and extinction. So my name is Tess Vergara, soul-powered executive coach, strategic interventionist, master strategy coach, and all that good stuff. All of that I bundle up together to become soul-powered executive coach. And this right here are my babies. So my greatest achievement is raising my 2 daughters alone, single-handedly, no dime from their father, who fled to Hong Kong when he failed his attempt to kidnap my children not too long ago, before this photo right here on the left is taken. And then right here are my 2 boys. Do you see Charlie and Finn? Charlie appears to be glaring at the cat. And I am empty nested now. When my youngest graduated high school, I left accounting and finance world completely in 2015, but accounting never left me. So balancing and reconciling is a huge component of soul-powered executive coaching. And you'll see a lot of that reconciliation and integration in this monthly soul-powered leadership training. So again, my specialty, I guide leaders and executives and change makers come to a place of balance and reconciliation so they can powerfully step into leadership, fulfill their soul mission, and live the life they love to live. And why soul power? Because in my own awakening and 7 years coaching leaders, executives, and professionals, there comes a point in their career, in my career, in our life work, that willpower is no longer enough. So what you learn today, the reason you doubt yourself, what to do when you start to doubt your own abilities, the cycle of self-doubt that gets you stuck, and why it is guaranteed to fail you and fall way short of your true ability, and how to create trust, certainty, and confidence in yourself and evolve past self-doubt. So does this sound like you? You're stressed, overworked, overwhelmed. You feel stuck and unable to take action. You're in a rut. There's a huge tension inside, an inner conflict brewing, or maybe it's getting louder and louder and harder to ignore. And you feel run down, anxious, frustrated, burnt out. Your mind is running 100 miles an hour. You can't sleep, you're overthinking, you're frustrated, keep on searching. Maybe you want to be true to yourself. Maybe you want to stop pretending. Maybe you want to stop wearing the mask, but you're afraid you won't be respected and accepted anymore. But then the pain of not being yourself is wearing you down. Or maybe you are weighed down by guilt, remorse, inadequacy, worries about the kids, spouse, the family, or you didn't get the 4 things you wanted to get done and you are procrastinating. Maybe you feel so much pressure, you start lashing out at people, you beat yourself up, then you do it all over again the next day. Or maybe you notice something is off, that you don't like your negative reactions, and you wonder how you've lost your optimism. And instead you noticed a lot of cynicism and you don't recognize yourself anymore. Where did you go? Maybe you started asking questions. Who am I? Where am I? Why am I here? Is this all there is to it? And you begin to wonder, what's the sense of it all? Is life even worth living? And the next thing you know, the more you indulge in these negative thought patterns, you're already withdrawing from life. You're downplaying your achievements, your promotion, you're declining invitation to gatherings, you're turning down opportunities and new growth. You start believing you are not qualified to advance, to get into that relationship. You start shrinking. That's when you hear the anguish of your soul. So danger of self-doubt. It will shut you down if you're not careful. Some level of self-doubt can actually be healthy. It's like a GPS. It's a guiding system that tells you, hey, we're up-leveling here. We're in a new territory here. This is a new frontier, right? So self-doubt can serve positively when used in a way that we honestly question and challenge ourselves to grow when we are bumping into that unfamiliar territory and we are stepping onto a new threshold. But when self-doubt becomes habitual to the point of overindulgence, it can be so disempowering and debilitating that you're paralyzed and you spiral downwards so fast, real fast. It's like gravity that's pulling you down, weighing you down. And so that's the danger of self-doubt, is it can shut you down completely, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. So let me know if this experience is something that you're familiar with. And I experienced this myself. So what is the reason you doubt yourself? In a society that values performance and external physical appearance, we measure our self-worth, our contribution and value from their yardstick, and we disconnect from knowing and owning our true nature and our highest truth. So we have a ton of unrecognized, unrealized, higher expression and potentialities that we have not discovered or we have not fully owned yet. And this creates a lot of doubt because you're not functioning from that wholeness. And I'll share more about that in a little bit. But right now I want to share that I saw the movie Judy, I think last month. And it's based on Judy Garland's story. And I never knew her story until I was at the movie. She died when I was 2 years old. So I cried the whole time. Here's this natural talent who grew up in front of the camera, and she was constantly doubting herself and asking approval from others. And then she would, at the scene, you know, she would go in to her shows and then the audience would boo her, you know, and heckle at her because she would show up drunk. She died of overdose with an empty bank account, without custody of her children. And it just devastated me. Behind all the accomplishment and the rave about her unbelievable talent, it revealed in that movie about her tortured childhood. She was forced to take pills so she could perform. She was shamed when she would eat a hamburger. She was manipulated and controlled so that she does the show, the movie, whatever that was. She was so controlled, she didn't have the freedom to be herself. And I cried because she was unable to meet her true self, not just her talents, but the wholeness of her being, the entirety of her beingness, the truth of who she was. She was able to reconcile within her the demons that prevented her to fully know herself beyond the duty that performed in front of the public eye. And so we all have this little Judy in us that was not allowed to play, that was not given the freedom to fully express herself or himself. There's a little Judy in all of us that got repressed, conditioned, denied, manipulated, abandoned, betrayed, humiliated, programmed to be who we are not. And even if you had a loving childhood and your parents did their very best, since we were babies, we still picked up beliefs, conditionings, habits, patterning, programming that had become the foundation of who or what we thought we are. We created an identity based on distortions, based on false sense of self, based on naivety of a young kid observing other people and never given permission or never really dared know who he or she really is. So in other words, we were programmed, and it's no one's fault really. It's just the nature of human conditioning, right? We pass it on from one generation to another generation. But I think as soul-powered leaders, we say enough. That's it, enough. This is why we terribly doubt ourselves, is because we have yet to reclaim and experience our wholeness and fullness. The biggest lie ever perpetuated on earth is to condition humans to believe there's something outside of them that will complete and make them whole and approve their worth and value. So what do you do when you start to doubt your own abilities? Well, first of all, you use self-doubt as a healthy way, emphasizing on the word healthy, to assess what's missing without believing the voices in your head, without believing the voices of the past that says you're broken and not enough. When you start doubting yourself and your own abilities, take it as a hint, as an invitation to move back in alignment with your true nature. It's simply feedback that you're being guided to meet your true, natural self. To deny it, to ignore it, to sweep it under the rug is not a good idea, because it creates an open loop in the brain that signals your mind that says, hey, I don't think we're safe here. There's an unanswered question that keeps looping in the background. And this is what creates cycle of self-doubt, when there is that uncertainty, when there is that feeling of unsafety, and it throws us off, spinning us out of control. So in not addressing those concerns that are natural doubts, sends a signal to the subconscious that says, our concerns must not be important. I must not be important. So it creates unsafety, and the mind becomes notoriously controlling and becomes a bully. And it's not malicious. It's the mind's job to keep you safe. And the heart is like, wait, but that's not what I wanted. The mind would be like, you got no choice. Do as you're told. So the trick is to work with the mind, right? So the cycle of self-doubt is guaranteed to fail you and have you fall short of your true ability. And I want to explain that. What's happening is, if we have unresolved issues, if we have past trauma hovering in the background, and the trauma, oh my God, trauma is, you cannot compare someone's trauma with your trauma, right? So even if the kid, let's say siblings eating on the table, and you give ice cream to one sibling, but not the other because the other did not finish his or her meal, that naivety in that little child will think, I must not be good enough. I must not be a good boy or a good girl. So it creates a trauma. So trauma doesn't necessarily mean something, rape or abuse or things like that. But can you imagine more so? So trauma can happen even in the most innocent way, just because that's the mind of a child. Okay, so if we have unresolved issues, if the past is hurting you in some way, and it's still alive and keeps getting triggered back, if there's emotions leading you on a roller coaster ride, the mind doesn't feel safe. If we have thoughts that are destructive, if we have disempowering habits that are left unchecked, if we are not even aware of our own habits, right, or we are so unconscious, then we function from a place of separatedness from our own true self. And that's when thoughts of, there must be something wrong with me, something is not right, this is impossible, I can't do this, that's when we disconnect from our own power as a powerful creator being. So again, when we have unhealed pieces, we get fragmented, which means we feel scattered. We scattered into pieces. Our energy is all over the place, and we cannot create from a scattered energy. What we are creating, if we are scattered inside, our reality that we're creating is also scattered. So there's an inner battle going on between our body, our heart, our mind, our spirit. Instead of functioning from oneness, it's functioning from separatedness. There's opposing forces inside of us that we don't know what to do with. There's no stability, no peace of mind. There's no sense of safety and security. And so we feel out of control. And when we feel out of control, we hold back. And when we don't fully express our genius, then there's lack of expression. And lack of expression means there's depression, which triggers then helplessness, powerlessness. All this feeds the cycle of self-doubt, and it becomes debilitating. The more you shrink, the more you don't have energy, you atrophy, something dies, right? And what that something dies will manifest as death of a relationship, or your finances are not so great, or your health's not so great, your career took a dive, so when your power is scattered and functioning from separatedness, then your own power to do anything feels impotent. So how can you even think of fully showing up in the world we're now living in when your sense of power feels lacking or not enough? Even though you're going through the motions and stepping up into leadership, when you're not solid in that foundation, you yourself will get in your own way because it's not even safe, right? So you have to create safety first. for the mind to work with you and for that reconciliation of the body, mind, spirit, emotion to happen. So when it's scattered and all over the place, this is unintegrated power. It doesn't mean that there's something broken or wrong with you. It just means you need to bring all of you back in integrity at the level of soul. So how do we create trust, certainty, and confidence? So 3 things I'm going to mention here is remember, reconcile, and realignment. Huge part of soul-powered executive coaching and leadership training is about coming into balance, harmony, and integration using my no parts left behind philosophy. When we are functioning from disconnectedness and separatedness, when we are functioning from unintegrated power, we feel lost, scattered, our steps are not solid, we are confused, we're unable to express our truth and an authentic expression. We feel limited and incapable to bring to life what we are born to do. And we fail to contribute our unique gifts and highest contribution at full capacity because we feel we're not strong enough. We feel we can't take effective, we cannot lead effectively. Then we are constantly doubting ourselves. So under the no parts left behind philosophy, we bring back and remember all parts, layers, aspects, dimension of our soul beingness. We heal, which means we bring back everything to wholeness. The woundedness, the not enoughness of the false self, the pretend self, we heal all those. And then we reconcile the 4 pillars, the physical, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual. Those are the 4 pillars. And so from that rock solid foundation of inner alignment of the 4 pillars, when they're unified and aligned, you can then fully access your soul power and bring to life what your soul came here to do. From that place of soul power, you fulfill your big ass mission without even numbing or shutting down physically, mentally, emotional, and spiritually. So this is deep foundational work. This goes beyond and willpower and personal power. Without soul power, we're like a tree with shallow roots, easily knocked down or dried up. When we're anchored, soul powered, and deeply sourced and connected in our own source, in our own soul power, we have deeper roots. Life force energy flows through us freely, flows through us like through branches in all areas of life. So problems resolve itself because you are standing in rock solid foundation. And soul power means you are fully owning and standing in your power. No false bravado or pushing until you're exhausted and depleted your willpower and resources. As a soul-powered leader, you are never again a victim of your own thoughts and behaviors. My boys are having fun right now. You are completely aware of your patterns. And so when you're aware of your patterns, then you can do something about it. You can break free of it, or you can improve, right? Whatever kept you stuck and looping in cycle of disempowerment and negative behavior and defeating patterns, you can do something about it. You can break free from it when you are soul powered. You will never again feel that you are in a power struggle or that you are giving your power to someone else. So from an integrated, aligned, soul-powered place, you are simply being the unbounded power of your soul. And from this inner fortitude and trust, you then transform your inner world and then transform the world around you without you even knowing it. Yeah. So the surge of power and strength, you're in flow, you're in abundance, life force energy is flowing through you, as you, in you, no longer hindered by fear, by self-doubt, by resistance, resentment, old memories, none of those anymore, right? It's so old paradigm when you step into soul-powered leadership. So when that flow is stopped, blocked, or limited, you feel it. You feel stagnant, you feel heavy, you feel dis-ease, discomfort, distress in your career, finances, relationships. You feel unfulfilled because you are going against your own nature. And your own nature is to be full and free, right? To be this uninhibited expression of your infinite soul power. This is your true essence. And to go against your own nature is what creates huge suffering and triggers the debilitating cycle of self-doubt. So in essence, self-doubt is a gift. It is presenting to you a gift, the highest gift, for you to realize and recognize that there is no power outside of you. We've gotten the most out of survival and coping mechanism. We've mastered that part of our life. It's time to move on, move up, and come to a point where we can go beyond the needs of the physical. We can transcend the physical and bring in our soul into our body, into our physical expression. Because to continue to live in protection, in fear and survival, it caps and limits your freedom and fulfillment. And you will know, you will feel unsafe in your own body. And there's that resistance and there's that growth that just wants to burst free, burst out of you, because it is time. It's human evolution. Okay, so self-doubt is giving you the gift of awareness and activation that there's something more to be had, something more, not necessarily to achieve, but there's this unexpressed gift inside of you that's creating this signal of instability that you will never feel fulfilled unless you step into your soul power. So essentially, we are bound to betray ourself, the false reality. And it hurts when that happens, right? When we're functioning from the level of fear, it hurts like a son of a gun. But the beauty of that is, the highest perspective of that is the breakthrough. The breakdown will lead to the breakthrough, will lead to the heart opening, will lead to the mind opening, and it will lead to you meeting your highest self. Because you are meant to bring to life the full and infinite and innate expression of your soul power. So, what's the next step? The next step is, if you're seeking inner reconciliation and peace of mind that lasts, and ready to step into soul-powered leadership and do what your soul came here to do, then the next step is to get your soul-powered leadership profile. One of the biggest challenge is self-doubt. The biggest challenge is not believing in yourself. The challenge of the voices of negativities and I can't, it's impossible, that it's really hard for us to embrace the truth that there is no power outside of us, because we've been conditioned for many years, right? It's not going to be an overnight miracle, right? So for us to be miracles ourselves, it's going to take work. It's going to take a lot of inner work. And so just like Dr. Joe Dispenza said, it's going to take breaking the habit of being yourself, being your limited self, that is. It's been programmed. The conditioning and the programming got stuffed down our throats since birth. It's not going to be an overnight process. So the next step to stepping into your unique soul-powered leadership and highest contribution on earth would be to relax your mind. So relax the mind. The hardest thing is the kicker is the mind and emotion will not easily surrender to spirit. And I experienced being stuck in this debilitating pattern of self-doubt, not knowing it was part of natural evolution and ascension of human consciousness. It led me to burn out because so I'm taking this, I'm doing this leadership training to spread this good news, right? The good news that we are being invited into something more, into stepping into soul-powered leadership. Yeah, because once you get trapped in that cycle of self-doubt, it's so hard to get out of it. It's easy to become hostage of it. It's overwhelming, it's paralyzing, and it's a constant ongoing inner battle between the body, the mind, emotion, and spirit. It can wear you down if you were to do it on your own. So you need to get support, whether with me, or you can do it on your own, but it's going to be hard, okay? So whether with my help or another professional, doesn't matter to me, just get help. Once you delve into the root of your self-doubt, the root of your self-doubt, if you haven't gotten it, is the separation from your own unique soul power. It's that separation from that is the source of self-doubt. So when you understand that, when you understand the source of the problem, then you can begin to disentangle from the debilitating and disempowering habits and cycle of self-doubt. And so you need to relax the mind and you need to trust yourself more. And how do you trust yourself? Well, the mind needs proof and reminding. So instead of instead of reminding ourselves of our greatness, what do? Usually we are our own worst critic. We are our own worst enemies. It's habituated. It's a learned pattern. It's unconscious behavior, right? So stop it. Stop it right now. So at times the negative voices and self-defeating behavior are so strong and they're stronger than your willpower. So we need to relax the mind, trust ourselves more, and present it with an evidence that you are good enough. You need a solid starting point and get your mind's attention that, oh, you are serious about this. Again, the mind's job is to keep you safe. So if you take action, doesn't matter if the mind is on board. If you take the leap, it will follow you. Make sense? It will follow you. It has no choice but to follow you because its job is to keep you safe and protected. So don't listen to the fear-based mind. Take action. This is how you trust yourself. The mind wants to work with you because it has to keep you safe. But you have to work with it. You have to learn how to relax the mind. You have to set it up for success. And one way to create safety for the mind is to know that you are not inadequate. You are not insecure. You are not the same person that got bullied in school and traumatized into believing you are not enough or you're broken or damaged. So you're not your behaviors, you are not your past, you are not your thoughts, you are not your learned helplessness. And wouldn't it be amazing if you had access to your unique soul-powered leader profile and rediscover the genius in you? We can deprogram the mind and rewire the mind by finding out your unique, authentic, soul-powered leader profile. This profile will allow you to realign with your soul power and understand your needs, motivation, and behavior. Also, identify the falseness of the limited identity that you thought you were, that you adapted to out of survival, out of the need to be loved and accepted. right? Out of the necessity to advance in your career or put food on the table. There's a whole new side of you that is hidden and unexpressed and unexperienced. So your mind is going to love to support that, right? So using this soul powered leader profile, you get clear who you are, why you behave the way you do, what your natural and unique tendencies are, and what you're passionate about, what you're motivated about. And through our coaching, you will get a sense of your true purpose and calling. We'll do a lot of reflections together and get to know why you do what you do and what to do about that information and get you in alignment with your soul power. All right, so you have a calling. Self-doubt is no longer going to stop you once you give the mind the proof it needs to work with you. So Laura Mills, my client, she did her soul-powered profile, and she says right here, the patterns of self-sacrifice while always trying to find work balance are very clear through this profile. And we used that profile to help her really overcome her old self, her old tendencies. She says right here, overworked, overtired, in a depression. Tess helped me gain clarity to discover a more healthy and authentic way of being, helped me discover my higher purpose, and gifted me with refreshing perspective on life. Less anxiety, less stress, feel much more connected and centered, rekindled my sense of presence and playfulness with the kids again. So this soul powered leader profile is normally $250 and includes a 60 to 90 minutes coaching and support from me. And I'll be honest, reading your report can be triggering, can be disorienting, and it can also be very freeing. To realize that you've been denying yourself of your own gift, your own potential, and been pretending to be someone that you're not can be very confronting, okay? But I'm right here with you every step of the way. We're going to reassess your self-value, know exactly what you bring to the table and what pitfalls to avoid so you can better set yourself up for success and bring to awareness all things you didn't know or understand about yourself, and invite in self-acceptance, self-trust, self-confidence, self-compassion, and bring all your parts together and come from that place of wholeness and fullness. Okay, so for those of you who are live with me, joining on the replay too, Soul Powered Leadership profile is available to you only $97. Only $97. Especially because you're the first participants in this training. So yay! Sarah, actually, she is on the call, I believe. She gave me a huge testimonial here. The shift the test ignited in me was extraordinary. I had so much resistance and knew that she was taking me somewhere unusually inaccessible to me that I had buried in deep shame and egoic protection. And usually that's in the subconscious. And another one right here, Rachel, Tessa's coaching taps right into your soul and aims right for a deep self-awareness and awakening. Working with her helped me get right into alignment on my energy and clarity for where I want to take my business and my life. So, yay. All right, John, nicely done. Thank you so much. Sarah, yes, I mentioned you. Vanessa, cats and dogs. Do you have questions? Thank you so much for being here. Oh my God, I love you guys.